Hi, my name is Nick and welcome back to this Microsoft Teams crash course. Today we are taking a look at the chat application and how to utilize it to its full potential. If you find this tutorial useful, then you know what to do. And with that said, let's jump on over to Microsoft Teams. Okay, so here we are just inside the Microsoft Teams application. And the first thing we want to do is head over to the app bar on the left-hand side and select the chat icon. This should be your second option on the app bar. If we give that a click, it will load you all of the secondary menu here will load all of the chat messages that you have access to currently. So anything where people have been talking to you or you have started new conversations and chatting with them, they will appear in your recent section just here. Now, sometimes you'll want to talk to a one-on-one with someone, and other times you'll want to have a small group chat. In chat, you can do either of these things. You can create a single one-on-one chat message feed or a group chat with multiple individuals. You can start a one-to-one or group chat using the exact same method by selecting the new chat icon, which is here in the top right-hand side of the secondary menu. Once in a chat, you'll be able to send messages that include files, links, emojis, stickers, GIFs, and whatever else you need to in order to get your point across. Okay, so once you click this new chat button, you are presented with a to field in a similar way that you would set up an email, for example. You type the person that you would like to send a chat message to. That can be their name, their email address, a group of individuals, or a tag if the owner of a team has set those tags up for you. So in this example, I'll type Chris. And then I'll be able to click his name. Now, because we have already had a conversation already, his existing conversation will appear here in the portal window. Okay, and what we can do from here is actually, use the new chat function here at the bottom to type a message and then click the send icon here to send that chat message. Now, that is how you would kind of start a very basic one-to-one conversation going. Now, group chats work in a very similar way, except you obviously click the new chat icon here, and instead you would actually type multiple people's names in and or a group, for example. So using a group chat, you need to talk to a small group of people, and I don't think there's that many limitations in terms of the size of the group that you might want to create a chat message for, but do try to keep these concise. You don't want unmanageable groups by any stretch. So you click on that new chat icon at the top there, and then you basically be able to select multiple people. Now, if I come over here on the far right hand side, I have this little drop down menu here where you can give a group name. So you can basically say a test group as a name, and then you can type in all of the various different people that you want to add. So I'll type Chris in here, I'll add Nick, but that's myself, so I'm already included. And so you can add multiple people in, and then at the bottom of the screen you can use the message bar here to actually type a message to say test message, and then send this using the little send icon in the bottom right hand side. So very, very easy to send group messages. Now, one word of point to just note here is that you do not necessarily need to create a group chat if you're talking about something that actually is an entire team. If it's an entire team that you're trying to communicate with, you'll be much better off using the post section within a channel for a team. That way you don't have to worry about creating whole chat feeds that basically just replicate a team. But we'll talk more about the teams and the posts and the various different functionality you get there in future episodes. Okay, so in order to make the most use out of chat features like this, there's a few things to point out. When you are in your test message, if I spell it correctly, message, here at the bottom, if you press enter, it will automatically send that message to the individual, which might not necessarily be what you want to do. So the best way around this is actually to use the the shift and enter method, right? So if you hold the shift key down and press enter, you'll actually insert a new line. Okay, so that way you can type paragraphs in here and say that this is another line. Okay, and then I can use the shift enter, and again you create mini paragraphs within your chat feed. If you just press enter, it will just send that message directly into the chat, and that might not necessarily be what you're trying to achieve. If you want one single message paragraphed out, use the shift key, and that will quickly allow you to add an additional line or two into your chat message. Now, that's all well and great, but there is an easier way about doing it, and that is to use the format options button here, right? So this little A icon with a pencil next to it, if you click that, it'll actually open up all of the formatting options for your chat message, but this time you don't have to use the shift enter. Enter in itself will basically create new and additional lines as needed. So I can say, for example, line 1, enter, line 2, enter. Okay, so I actually prefer to use this formatting option and expand it into a slightly larger box, because it's going to give you the most amount of functionality when communicating in chat. And also you get the option here to as well go bold on certain lines and underline others, or make things italic, etc. And also you have options here for highlighting, so I can highlight specific lines if I wanted to. I can, change the font color. I can make that red. So you get a lot more functionality when it comes to this format options. And also, you can change it from a paragraph to a heading if you want, make that much larger. You can add bullet lists in as well. So lots of additional functionality that you can get from the format options. Now, moving on, there are some additional tips. So you can also use chat inside channels, which I'll talk more about in detail as we progress through to the Teams app itself. But in a similar way, you have this button here to allow yourself additional information and formatting to flow into your Teams channels. Now, there are a few other things to point out. With all of your chat messages here, if you hover above them, you can see there's this little icon here that basically pops the chat out into its own little window. So if I give that a click, we can see that I now have this chat message hovering inside the application. So if I'm running multiple monitors, I can have my chat messages in a different screen whilst I'm utilizing the Microsoft Teams application in its entirety. The other thing that you can do that's really powerful is you can save messages as well. So if I come down here and I click on more options, you obviously still have that pop out chat message there. We have the ability to pin it, we can mark it as unread, we can add to favorite contacts, we can do all of those kinds of things as well. And when it comes to other messages that you would like to save, you can save them and then search for them here using the / and saved option. When you do that, you'll have a list of all of your saved messages appear here. So very easy to create a saved dialog box here full of messages that you want to reference again at some point in the future. So well worth kind of just noting how to do that. You can also navigate to it from your icon here in the top right hand side. If you click on your avatar, and then there's also saved, which takes you straight back into that saved area as well. So a couple of different ways to navigate to your saved messages. Now, you have this filter option at the top here. So if you've got quite a large inbox of messages, you can still filter by certain names. For example, I can filter to Chris and I can search for anything that relates to him. Okay, I can also come in here and click on the ellipses option and see any unread messages, any meeting messages, and any muted messages. So the main differences here are anything that is unread, you could see those. and I can close that off. Any meeting messages, well, they have this one here. So with chat messages, you obviously have conversations that you're having with people, but also when you have a video meeting inside Microsoft Teams, a chat feed is created for that meeting. And inside that chat meeting, you have all of your chat feed that you have going on during the meeting and outside of the meeting. And then you have all the files that you shared during the meeting notes, and if you're using Whiteboard, you'd also have the ability to have the whiteboard there as well. So you do get a lot of functionality inside the chat feeds here that do cross over into multiple different applications inside Microsoft Teams, such as video calls, meetings, etc. And again, it's really easy to filter down to those. So if you had a really long list of messages and you just quickly wanted to find your meetings, you could see all of your meetings in one go that way. Okay, the other things that you can do here are all about statuses as well. So again, inside this message for Chris, for example, if I really wanted to get his attention, down here there's a set delivery options. If I give that a click, I can set this as an important message or an urgent message. Now by default, it's always a standard message that you're sending, but if it's something really important, you can send it as an important message. And when you do that, it basically puts this exclamation point next to the message and kind of alerts the person that there is a very important message here and they should potentially go and read it. Now the other thing is, if that still doesn't get the person's attention, you can use the urgent delivery method. Now this will notify that person every 2 minutes for the next 20 minutes. So basically, if you make it an urgent message, they're going to get a notification every 2 minutes. So they get a total of 10 notifications. So I would only recommend using this one at those really crucial moments when you do definitely need to get that person's attention. I wouldn't overuse the urgent status. Where possible, stick to standard or important, and only when absolutely critical should you use the urgent functionality. Obviously, you can still attach emails, you can add emojis, GIFs, you can apply stickers, and you can schedule a meeting with this person directly from here as well. And stream is also linked in, and you can praise as well. There's also more options. You can click here and you can see additional apps that you could use inside your chat message. So if you wanted to, you could add something like forms directly into a chat message and get feedback, or do a poll to that effect or something like that. So there's lots of functionality that you can do from inside the Microsoft Teams chat function here, and it's incredibly powerful when you start using some of these additional features and functions that are embedded here, such as sharing SharePoint or OneDrive files, creating meetings directly inside that chat feed, adding forms, etc., directly into the chat itself. So there is a lot that you can do, and I do highly recommend you start utilizing the chat functions. Hopefully guys, you found this episode incredibly useful. If you did, then you know what to do, and with that said, I will see you in the next episode.